Last but not least, I will pass the floor to Mrs. Anita Amorim, Head of Emerging and Special Partnership Unit at ILO.
Thank you very much.
Please, in 5 minutes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So, as I have 5 minutes, I'll just mention some of the ILO policies, but also a special event that we had in Geneva with 20 agencies, including WIPO sitting right next to me, where we have adopted some key messages for BAPA. But just quickly on the ILO side of things, we've been working on South-South and triangular cooperation for a very long time, so since TCDC times, so in the 70s and 80s. But in the past 10, 15 years, we have pushed the gear to a stronger acceleration. And in 2012, we had a governing body paper that has reaffirmed the importance of South-South cooperation. And this was reinforced by another paper in 2018. And the importance of having South-South cooperation also institutionally is critical, because we have been doing many of these activities that are following the principles that have been adopted in the different South-South conferences in Nairobi or Argentina or before, but it was not institutionalized. So since we have adopted in the governing body, some of these principles now are part of really our mandate. So we can say that peer learning, sharing, promoting training activities, and here I look at my colleague Yardanka Tsvetkova because she's in the ITC tour, and so building partnerships, these are actually part of our mandate. The 2018 paper, very quickly just to mention, has some key future steps for South-South, which includes promoting the future of work, as the ILO is turning 100 years, as my colleague here had mentioned. So when we're discussing the future of work and thinking about social protection, employment, fundamental principles and rights at work, and social dialogue, we really cannot do so just from a North-South perspective. We need also the horizontality of the South-South cooperation. There's also the aspect of capacity development and training, and this is a very critical point. So we have a partner actually with ITC Turin, but to promote academia on South-South cooperation, fragile to fragile cooperation, social solidarity economy. We have supported activities from ASEAN, BRICS, IBSA, India, Brazil, South Africa Fund. So the idea, so on and so forth, Mercosur, just to name a few. Support, of course, all SDGs, but in particular a focus on 8, obviously, because of our mandate on the decent work for all, and supporting these regional, bilateral, country-to-country approaches, because often people, they get a little confused with what is South-South. It's not just doing things in the South, it's from the South to the South and by the South. So I think this cooperation between countries of the South is very important, but also with the triangular cooperation. And here, of course, having the countries of the South in the driver's seat, but also having support from North countries can be very important. Supporting other modalities of South-South, like city-to-city cooperation or fragile-to-fragile cooperation, which are new concepts, but we are promoting them. And also, of course, promoting the BAPA plus 40. A lot of people here have discussed that. I think we'll have a second round of questions about BAPA plus 40, so I'm not going to enter the details. But I just wanted to really reaffirm the importance of this meeting we had on the 1st of November, just ahead of the Global South-South Expo, where we had the UN Office for South-South Cooperation and 20 Geneva and Rome-based agencies. So the Rome-based agency also joined our consensus on some language. So this can be very useful for you. You can look it up in our platforms. We have a South-South platform called southsouthpoint.net. So if you look it up, or even looking through the UN Office, you'll find it. And here, there's some contribution of language from these 20 agents. Of course, this is coming from the Secretariat, so as an offer for you, the governments who are actually on the driver's seats, and also in the case of the ILO, our tripartite constituents, which also workers and employers organizations. But here we reaffirm these principles of horizontality, solidarity, having countries of the South in the driver's seat when it deals with their own issues. I remember Elder Da Costa yesterday, the Secretary General of G7+, nothing about us without us. So I think these very important principles are there. And of course, from a Geneva-based perspective, we also are worried that sometimes in New York, some of our topics, they tend to disappear. So employment, social protection, decent work. I guess the Rome-based topics sometimes disappear as well. Food, so we have food security, rural development, but also intellectual property. So that was also our concern in terms of having on trade and development. So having also Geneva-based consultation, because the outcome document for Buenos Aires will be mainly negotiated in New York, so that you don't forget, of course, the dimensions that we have also in other agencies and other parts of the world. It's very critical as well. Thank you very much.